Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This evening it is the Lady Hawks volleyball team in a fantastic rivalry showdown as they prepare to welcome in their arch nemesis from the Davenport division, the Canton Lady Bulldogs. This is a rematch of last year's Division II Central semifinal game, after both of these teams made elongated runs through the MIAA tournament a season ago. But as much success as both of these teams enjoyed last year, this year, it has been a much different story. Milford, of course, has had a lot of struggles in the early part of the season. They come into this matchup tonight with an overall record of 3-10. They are currently in 5th place out of the 6 teams in the Davenport division standings, and Canton, after a decade atop these Davenport division standings, comes in to this evening in 4th place. They are right now under 500 at 5-7 overall on the season. As introductions begin out on the field, out on the court, I should say. Both of these teams looking for a late season surge. Canton still very much in the thick of the playoff push, just 2 games under 500. Certainly an opportunity for them to continue to progress in these final days of the season and earn their way into the tournament. For Milford, the road is much more dire. One final loss, one more loss moving forward at any point in the remainder of their season, and they will officially be eliminated from playoff contention. So no margin of error for Milford as they move forward. And of course, one issue we do have to address briefly on air here is there has been a coaching change on this Milford team mid-season. Head coach Dan Seaver, in his first year with the program, resigned earlier this month. So right now taking over on an interim basis is Tammy Weber, moving up from the freshman team to take over the varsity squad for the rest of the season. Matt Deanna has taken over the freshman team. There has been no coaching changes on the junior varsity squad. You will also see that Linda Zakili is in the house tonight, helping out on the bench as well. So some coaching changes here late in the season. There's certainly been some positive energy about this Milford team as they get set to take on their arch division rival. And as their introductions begin, you can start to hear some of the energy rise up here in the gym. This is always a fascinating volleyball matchup to watch unfold, and looking forward to getting this one started. Milford taking on Canton in this Davenport Division girls volleyball rivalry matchup, and it will start right on the other side of this break here on Milford TV. And welcome right back inside Milford High School. Time to get this volleyball matchup started. Milford taking on Canton. And again, a rematch of last year's Division II Central semifinal game. A lot of the faces have changed on both of these rosters from those 2 teams that squared off in the playoffs a year ago. Of course, for Milford, we've talked about the seniors no longer a part of this team in our previous games we've covered this season. Ali Zagami, Lauren Zarangian, Ali Collins among them. And on the other side of the court, a lot of noticeable absences as well. But a new generation out there on the floor for both of these teams as the rivalry gets started. The serve on the Canton side goes long, and Milford will take the opening point of this match. Of course, we talked about it quite a bit last year as we had a chance to cover a regular season matchup between these 2 teams and the playoff matchup as well. Not much success to speak of for Milford in terms of wins and losses in this rivalry in recent memory. Milford starting out in good fashion with an ace on their opening serve from the senior Sabrina Harstick. And now a hard serve away, but sent in too low. It bounces off the net. And an early 2-1 score. You look at the personnel out on the floor right now, a lot of seniors out there. As a matter of fact, this entire starting lineup for Milford, all seniors, with Harstick, Alves, and Reichert on the back line, Lobiser, Pierre Gustavo, and Jillian Valenzola in the front. As Canton returns it over, Kyra Alves calmly handles it on the back line. Kelly Reichert tries to keep it alive, but it ends up falling to the floor. And early on in this first set, tied up at 2. And the serve on the Canton side now goes to number 5, Taylor Harris. A one-handed save by Sophia Connor, but ends up sending it off towards the right side and out of play. And early on, a lot of communication from the sidelines from both the interim head coach, Tammy Alves, and also the former head coach of this team from last year, Linda Zakili. Setting things up before Jillian Valenzola sends the serve away. A low liner dug out on the back line. Now flipped back over into some empty space on the middle of the floor. Well placed that time for Canton to get the kill. And talking to Coach Zakili before this match started, it's been a lot of different coaches, a lot of different hands on this varsity program in recent years for the seniors that are on this roster today. They have now had 5 different head coaches in their 4 years after the coaching change taking place earlier this month. Coach Seaver out, Coach Weber in. And the team just hoping to play their best volleyball of the year here late in the season. Playoffs certainly a long shot for this team at this point, and they well know that fact. But wanting to finish out strong and let the chips fall where they may. Close in the early goings of this set as the ball deflects off the back row of Canton, out of play, and that will be another point in the column for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, as now we see some personnel changes made. Out onto the floor now comes Brianna Maeta to take over on serve. And also checking into the game is Elena Nocilia, another senior. And Maeta to the back line, dug out by the libero for Canton. That is number 35, Megan McDonough. And now the hit from the right side. And that goes out of play. A point for the Lady Bulldogs, who pull ahead 5-4. Neither side completely pulling away with momentum here early on. Now set up the middle for Juliana Tracy. That ball changed directions late, but she was able to hang with it. Now Nocilia with the clean set for Reichert. She fires it to the back row, but it's picked up there by Nia Claiborne. Now the flip shot over the net towards the right side on the Milford end of the floor, but it drifts beyond the sideline. And this will send the senior captain, Kelly Reichert, on serve. And that one will go as an ace for Reichert. Handled initially by Canton, but no one able to get back there in support. And Milford back up by a 1-point margin. And the serve continues for Reichert. Now two-handed over towards the back line, but too strong on the attempt by Rose Haslam. This was a senior-heavy squad for Canton last year, so a lot of these players out there right now for the Lady Bulldogs have very little varsity experience, so that has certainly been a source of the growing pains that they've experienced over the course of the season. As you see the mishit right there by Megan McDonough, that forces the timeout for the legendary head coach on the Canton side of the floor, Pat Cawley, and a very animated conversation with her group as the timeout is taken with Milford up 8-5 here in the first set. We'll take the quick timeout as well. More in this first set on its way next here on Milford TV. Coach Cawley extremely animated with her team throughout that entire timeout, trying to raise the energy level of her group as Milford has the early 8-5 advantage. Now the set up front for Tracy, pushes it to the back line, picked up by McDonough. Now the cross-court shot, the diving attempt by Reichert. She was just able to pull the hands in as that ball went out on the far sideline. Good awareness for Kelly Reichert. Shrewd move by the veteran. And Reichert back on serve now with Milford up 9-5. Nicely blocked in front, teaming up for it, Tracy and Nocilia. And Milford into double digits now in this opening set. They open up a 5-point advantage. 5 straight points now on the service game for Reichert as this ball deflects off the hands of Sophia Connor, and another ace for Reichert. And some personnel changes now on the Canton side, as we've seen our first full momentum swing of the match. Milford turning this from a 5-5 tie into an 11-5 advantage. Now a clean set for Harstick. She blasts it to the back, but it's dug out. Now the flip shot over with 2 hands for Juliana Tracy, and Milford ends up with the kill. And a lot of positive energy out there for the Lady Hawks in this first set. A lot of smiles, a lot of good intensity. Very encouraging sign early on here. Nocilia with a nice quick move to flip that one down at the feet of the Lady Bulldogs, and quickly Coach Cawley is forced to call another timeout, with Milford now jumping out to a 13-5 lead. We talked about the struggles that Milford has had with Canton over the years. They are well documented. We went through a lot of them last year as Milford went on to face this Canton team in the playoffs. Milford has not won a game against this Lady Bulldogs squad dating all the way back to the 2012 season. It has been regular season sweeps for Canton in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016. And that includes 2016, in which Canton was able to defeat Milford 3 times, a 3-set sweep here in Milford, a 3-1 victory later on in Canton, and then a 3-0 sweep in the D2 Central semifinals last year. The only sets that Milford has won against Canton in this current era was that one set they were able to take in Canton on October 20th last season. They were also able to claim a single set in their loss at Canton earlier this season, a 3-1 defeat back on September 19th. But looking good here in the early stages of the first set. They've already forced 2 Canton timeouts, and a 13-5 lead as Kelly Reichert will continue on serve. And Milford trying to save this one, and very calmly Kelly Reichert steps in to send it back over the net. Now Hannah Jerrier, Milford able to get a piece of it on the way by, now set up for Valenzola, and a little bit too strong on the attempt for Valenzola, and that will break up the string for Milford, but a very impressive sequence. Eight points on the service game for Kelly Reichert, now 13-6 as Canton goes back on serve. It's dug out by Valenzola. They'll set it up for Harstick. Like that had a lot of English on it coming off the hand of Harstick. They'll set it up the middle this time, and Milford gets the kill. It was Juliana Tracy. The JV squad for Canton trying to provide a boost to their varsity squad out there right now, who are back on their heels, trailing 14-6. Kyra Alves back out onto the floor to take over on serve, the senior captain. And some bad communication on the Canton side as you saw a couple of players go after that ball. And the result, an ace in the Milford column. Julia Minicello and Teresa O'Brien both going after that ball, and O'Brien immediately heads to the bench, the junior. And back-to-back aces now for Kyra Alves. And it's an even 10-point advantage now for Milford. The serve away and trying to just barely sneak that one over the net. It didn't have enough. And it looks like Rose has him now, the junior, to set up behind the service line. Coach Cawley cycling out a lot of personnel here in this opening set, trying to find the right mix. Has him serve is met by Reichert. Now Maeda sets it up for Harstick. She blasts it to the back, and that just sneaks in front of the back line. Well placed by Sabrina Harstick, who has looked very good so far in this match. A lot of power behind these attacking shots for Harstick and good accuracy as well. Kate Lobuser, senior, back out onto the floor, replacing Elena Nocilia after she had a nice sequence out there on the floor. Pierre Gustavo, the set for Harstick again, this time dug out by Canton. Now a hard cross-court shot, a nice diving play to dig it out for Kyra Alves as the volley continues. A little easier chance that time for the senior Alves, and Milford gets the kill. Looking like the Lady Scarlet Hawks of 2016 through this first set, playing extremely well and opening up an 18-7 lead getting late into this set as Pierre Gustavo takes over on serve, and Canton able to save it as it went up against the net, and they get rewarded placing that one right in the back corner beyond the dive of Kyra Alves. Still a 10-point lead for Milford at 18-8. The serve now goes to Sophia Connor. And the serve met initially by Valenzola. Now it's Lobuser. The front line taking a little something off of it. It pops straight up in the air and again lands between several players. No one making the aggressive play to go after that ball. Coach Cawley with more communication, directed in particular at Sophia Connor. And now Harstick. You could see the footing was off for Harstick. It threw off her timing and ultimately sent that serve attempt right into the net. So at 19-9, the serve now to Taylor Harris as Milford keeps the energy up on the court. Harris lofts it to the left side for Milford, where it goes beyond the sideline. Alves to the bench, Juliana Tracy back out onto the floor, and Jillian Valenzola, the senior captain, takes over. Milford needs 5 more points to claim an opening set victory. Valenzola, good power. That ball taking a hard ricochet towards the right side for Canton, but they recovered to send it back over Milford's way. Now to the back line. Handled cleanly by McDonough. Now from the left side, it's delivered over. Pierre Gustavo, a quick flip shot. I believe Pierre Gustavo made contact with the net, as that will make it a 20-10 score. Sophia Connor serving it out. Pierre Gustavo, the set for Reichert. Partially blocked in front by Canton. And now the double team up front for the block for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. It's Lobuser and Tracy to give Milford a 21-10 lead. And Lobuser and Pierre Gustavo now head to the bench as Maeda will take over again on serve. And off the hands of the libero, Megan McDonough. Another ace for Milford. 3 points away at 22-10. Canton able to return it over. Milford in some trouble. Can Harstick get it back over the net? Indeed she can. Now taking something off. That one was Canton. Now it's up to Harstick again. She's able to two-hand it over. They set it up on the left side this time. It is Jill Valenzola. Sent it all the way over, but easily playable for the front row for Canton. And 22-11 as the Lady Bulldogs will once again take over on serve. And the point will go to the Lady Bulldogs here. Back down to a 10-point margin as Canton tries to dig deep. Big deficit to climb out of. They need a lot of points in a hurry. Nice play by Milford to get that one back over the net. And now a communication breakdown as Reichert and Tracy were caught looking at each other as the ball dropped in between them. The last thing Milford wants to do is give Canton some life. And Juliana Tracy changes up the pace and gets that one to fall. Tracy gets the kill, and Milford now 2 points away as they will send Kelly Reichert once again behind the service line. It was on Reichert's serve earlier in the set where Milford was really able to gain separation. Hoping to deliver the last 2 points Milford needs. Harstick with a hard shot. Milford called for the infraction. So the Milford lead down to 9 as the serve goes to Nicole Brown. The Milford fans now trying to make some noise. Met initially by Reichert. Now the hard shot by Nocilia, but way too much on it. Clearing the back line and making the score 23-15, so starting to get a little bit closer here. Milford on their way to an easy opening set victory, but Canton starting to show some of that championship spirit that has made them such a factor in the Davenport division and in the MIAA tournament for the last decade. And this forces the first timeout of the set now for Coach Weber. She takes it as the score has narrowed to 23-16. Milford still needs just 2 more points to claim an opening set victory. We'll see if they can finish it off when we come back next here on Milford TV. 23-16, Milford with the lead. Canton about to serve. Nicole Brown sends it away, dug out by Reichert. Now up the middle for Juliana Tracy, flips it over the front row, but Canton recovers. And now the block in front between Tracy and Nocilia, but Canton answers. Now Harstick able to loop it over the front, but Canton there again. Now the deflection off the hands of Harstick and Tracy, and another kill for the Lady Bulldogs. And the lead down to 6 points for Milford. They had a double-digit lead. Milford starting to get a little tight here, and Canton taking advantage. High looping serve this time, handled easily by Reichert. Now the flip shot over by Tracy. Sent over by the libero. Now Reichert, a hard shot to the back, an athletic play by Sophia Connor. Now the hard attacking shot off the hands of the front row. So Canton has made the adjustments here. Milford needs to do the same. This would be a major squander for the Lady Hawks if they allow Canton to come all the way back. Now trailing by 5. The Lady Bulldogs serve it out. Nice play by Harstick to make that one playable. And now a series of dives for Canton. They are able to return it. Now Maeda the set. Harstick able to handcuff the front row with a short little shot, and that puts Milford right on the doorstep now at set point. And the serve goes to Kyra Alves. And her serve away, it's met cleanly. Now Jerrier up front, the block by Valenzola. Canton keeps it alive. And now they get a little help from the net as that one is returned back over. Harstick softly with 2 hands. Now the hard attacking shot is long beyond the back line, or was it? They will give the point to the Lady Bulldogs. And so 24-19 as the serve now goes to Rose Haslam. Alves not handling that one as cleanly as she usually does, but Milford recovers. The block in front by Valenzola, and finally Milford is able to seal the deal, 25-19. That set got much closer than Milford would have liked, but in the end they were able to get the job done. And so Milford claims the opening set in this matchup. They take a lead on Canton, which is something we have not seen very much in this matchup. So Canton up 1-0. The two sides will flip the floor, and we will be back for set number 2 when we come back next here on this coverage of Milford Lady Hawks volleyball here on Milford TV. Welcome back to coverage of Lady Hawks volleyball here on Milford TV. Milford with a 1-0 lead, and Emily Pierre Gustavo gets Milford on the board here in set 2. Milford looking to break a very long losing streak to this Canton team. And in a season where not a lot has gone right for the Lady Hawks, with a lot of struggles throughout the season to this point, the only wins Milford has in their column so far this year: a win back on September 26th on the road against Foxborough, a win here at home against Attleboro High School back on October 6th, actually part of Milford's best stretch of the season. Back-to-back victories at home against Attleboro and on the road against a very tough Mansfield team. But following that up with a loss in their most recent game back on October 13th on the road against Stoughton, who has established themselves as one of the power programs in the Hockomock League this year. But off to a good start here with a 1-0 lead against Canton. Jerrier, a flip shot over the net. Valenzola. And now returned over on the left side for Canton. Valenzola again with the same play a third time as she draws Canton in tight, close to the net. And the senior captain gets the kill, and 4 quick points out of the shoot for the Lady Hawks, all on the serve of the senior Emily Pierre Gustavo. And that one lands in for the ace for Pierre Gustavo. Canton gave up on it. The Canton coaching staff also felt like that one was out, but the officials rule it in. And a quick 5-0 lead now as the serve continues for Emily. This one deflected high, now right towards the net where Jerrier is able to get it over. Lobiser now, where it's met by Taylor Harris. Now a block in front for Milford. It's sent back over and just tucked inside the near sideline. That breaks up a good string to open the second set for Emily Pierre Gustavo. Now it is Harris on serve for the visitors. And the first serve attempt for Harris goes out on the near side. Canton in a tough stretch of their season. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 matches. Losses to Stoughton, Franklin, Oliver Ames, and North Attleboro, with a win against Taunton mixed in between. And Milford now quickly up to a 7-1 lead. Sabrina Harstick's serve away, a missile just sneaking over the net. And a hard collision in towards that stanchion post on the far side of the court for Canton's Sophia Connor. As the point goes in Milford's column, Canton calls the timeout as Milford starts off this second set, picking up where they left off in set 1, up 8-1. And so again, taking a look at the Davenport standings, really not a big surprise at where the teams are at this point. You could tell a lot of these programs were on the rise with how they played last season, between what we saw out of Franklin early last year with a young team, also King Philip showing a lot of talent, North Attleboro and Stoughton as well. And those are the teams right now that have been really separating themselves from the pack. North Attleboro leading the Davenport division with a 12-2 record. King Philip leading the Kelly Rex at 14-1 as King Philip's run of dominance throughout this fall sports season in all sports continues. Tremendous play out of King Philip's football team, girls volleyball team, their girls soccer program as well, playing extremely well. So North Attleboro in the Davenport, King Philip in the Kelly Rex, and also Stoughton and Franklin with double-digit wins on the season as well. As both sides return to the floor out of the timeout. Couple of bounces for Sabrina Harstick before she releases the serve. That one skipping over the tape on the net, and the ball deflects off the hands of Nicole Brown over the Canton bench and out of play. Nice effort out of Brown, who went diving off by the scorer's table, but was not able to send that one back onto the playing surface, and now a 9-1 advantage for Milford as Harstick comes through with the ace. Milford with good ace numbers here in these first two sets. The substitution for Canton, Julia Minicello back out onto the floor. Harstick is ready. And a hard serve. Canton not taking for granted that that ball would go out. And they end up getting the point out of it as Jill Valenzola tried to play that ball off the net, but then Milford unable to return it. But still a 10-2 lead. As the serve will now come from Sophia Connor. Sends it right to the Milford libero, Kyra Alves, and now hard attacking shot by Jill Valenzola, but immediately returned by that front row. Hannah Jerrier, one of the few returning faces with varsity experience. We saw Jerrier, along with Casey Shea, prove to be a very formidable duo up front for Canton in the regular season and playoffs last year. As Milford gets another kill. You think about some of the personnel missing from last year's Canton team that was a Division II Central finalist. More on that after this next volley. Milford sets it up for Kelly Reichert. It's popped straight up in the air from the front row, but then lands on the Canton side of the floor as Kelly Reichert gets the kill. We mentioned Casey Shea. You also think about Nicole Poole, Julia Panico, Emma Murphy, Erica Lum. A lot of very talented players on that senior class for Canton last year that are no longer a part of this program. Nice play from Pierre Gustavo with her back to the net. Now from the left side of Canton, it's met by Valenzola. Now softly sent over by Tracy. And Milford lets it travel out beyond the near sideline. A 10-point advantage in the second set for Milford. And now a hard return all the way by Sophia Connor. But Milford reacts. Now it's Jerrier up the middle, and Emily Pierre Gustavo able to absorb that hard attacking shot, and Milford ends up getting the kill. Pierre Gustavo about as surprised as anyone that her return was as effective as it was. Drawing a lot of smiles from the bench as well. It's just a much lighter feel around this team than we saw earlier in the season. The losses piling up early in the year for Milford, certainly getting into their heads, pressing a bit out on the floor, but playing much more the brand of volleyball that gave them so much success last season, and they're having a lot of success so far here tonight. A 1-0 lead on Canton, and they are up 15-3 here in set number 2. We'll have more in a moment here on Milford TV. Out of the timeout now, the serve sent away by Jill Valenzola. Gets a nice bounce off the net, but Canton was able to hang with it. Now the deflection off the hands of the front row, and that will go as a point in Milford's column. Milford has dominated this second set so far. Dug out well that time by Canton, sent all the way over. But Kelly Reichert answers back. She gets the kill from the left side. Set up on the left side for Canton now. Now for Reichert. A couple of players going after it, but Canton keeps it alive. Now a diving play by Pierre Gustavo. Again, Reichert will try it, but sends it too long this time. Taking a look back through past schedules for Milford and Canton, we were able to track this rivalry all the way back to 2012. And as we mentioned, Milford has not won a meeting between these two schools in that time span, so that's 2 regular season meetings each season going back to 2012, including their matchup earlier this season. That is 11 straight regular season games in which Canton has walked away with a victory, and in those 11 games, Milford has only been able to claim a single set in 2 of those 11 meetings. The vast majority of the victories for Canton have been 3-set sweeps. In none of those games was Milford able to claim 2 sets in a match. Right now up 18-5 in the second set, up 1-0. So trying to buck that trend. But Milford with a big lead in the first set. Canton ended up making it close. The Lady Bulldogs able to go back on serve here with Nicole Brown. Now Maeda setting it up for Kelly Reichert, but again, she blasts that one beyond the back line. At 18-6 now. That attacking shot taken by Nocilia. Canton able to return. Nocilia this time unable to clear the net. And Canton starting to chip away just a bit. The biggest lead Milford had was 13. Now down to 11. Nice dig by Valenzola. Tracy pushing it over. Now Maeda trying to set it up for Kelly Reichert, but the double hit gives the point to Canton. And Canton putting together their best sequence so far of this second set, now narrowing it to 18-8. Valenzola sending that one in the wrong direction. Reichert able to save it. Now this one too high from Jill. Sends it off that center beam across the gym ceiling. And 18-9 now. And this will prompt a timeout on the Milford side. And the timeout coming with the score 18-9 in the second set. We'll take the timeout and be right back with more next on Milford TV. Another serve for Nicole Brown after the timeout. And Milford delivers it over, and that one just sneaking in. Another ball that Canton bailed on, and it must have dropped down right on that far sideline. Puts Milford up 19-9 as they send Kelly Reichert back behind the service line. The second set opening with some extended success on serve for Emily Pierre-Gustavo, the senior. Now, can Kelly Reichert seal a second set victory, as that one was mishandled right at the net for Brown. And a quick substitution now as Nia Claiborne steps out onto the floor, replacing Bailey Shea. A 20-9 lead for Milford. Pushed over by Colleen Boucher. And now it's Harstick to the back row. Hard cross-court shot. Milford able to answer it as Nocilia guided it back over the net and dropped down right in the center of the Canton side of the floor for a Milford kill. And the Lady Hawks now 4 points away. Reichert right to the center of that back row. And Canton's return shot just stays in on the back for Taylor Harris. She gets the kill. 21-10. Nia Claiborne with a couple of bounces before she sends the serve away. And Brianna Maeda unable to play that one off the net bounce. Another serve now for Claiborne. It's dug out by Kelly Reichert. And now the kill up front for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. And Kyra Alves back from the bench. She will take over on serve. And in desperation mode, Canton trying to keep it alive. They are able to send it onto the other side of the floor, but well out of bounds off to the far side. But certainly points for effort for the Lady Bulldogs as they came over as far as they could in front of their own bench. But the result is a point in the column for Milford. Up 23-11 as Alves releases another serve. And that one stays in on the far side. You could see that clearly stayed inside those dark lines and that represent the playing surface for the volleyball court. A number of different lines on this gym floor. It is the black lines. I should say the green lines that outline the volleyball surface as this ball again travels far out. Canton giving it all they could as Megan McDonough tried to muscle that ball over. But it ends up hitting off of the net, and it is set point yet again for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, 24-12. On the verge of taking a stranglehold of this match. And the senior who started out on serve delivers one here, but low and into the net. And Coach Colley making a last-minute substitution, sending Julia Minicello back onto the floor for the serve. 24-13. Kyra Alves meets it. Jill Valenzola trying to keep it in on the near side. She cannot. Ten-point differential. And a double hit for Milford as they tried to set it up on the far side. And so once again, Milford finds themselves ever so close to a set victory, but Canton refuses to go without a fight. A lot of trouble for Kelly Reichert, but Alves able to track it down right at the edge where the far wall of the gym was, but it was not enough for Milford to send it over inbounds. And the serve continues for Julia Minicello. As now this ball is blocked out in front by Hannah Jerrier. And now 24-17, and no choice for the Milford coaching staff but to call a timeout. Milford was up 24-12, looking like they were going to take this set in a walk, but now 24-17 is Canton making the lives of these Lady Hawks players difficult once again. As we mentioned, Milford still in one of their better grooves of the season, having won 2 out of their last 3 matches. Canton trying to shake themselves out of a midseason funk that has seen them lose 4 out of their last 5. And as we take a look at the last matches for each of these teams, both of them going up against some very tough Davenport Division competition. North Attleboro, and Canton facing North Attleboro, in which they played a very tough 5-set thriller, in which they were able to claim the first 2 sets against North, but the Lady Rocketeers were able to storm back, winning the 3rd set 25-15, the 4th set 25-8, and then winning the final decisive set 15-8. Milford, on the other hand, lost a 4-setter to the Stoughton Lady Knights. And now back to action here. Milford up by a set. But the second set will continue as it gets tighter and tighter on the scoreboard, now 24-18. So Coach Cawley pushing the right buttons as she sent Julia Minicello out to take over on serve. She's seen a lot of success, as now the return shot is delivered long by Jill Valenzola, and it's now 24-19. The serve for Minicello. Reichert to the front for Pierre Gustavo. Now Lobiser. And a double hit on the Canton side. And so that is how this second set comes to an end. A little bit of an anticlimactic finish in the end as Milford is able to claim their second straight set by a margin of 25-19. So once again, they leave the door ajar for a Canton comeback. Canton making things difficult on Milford late in the set after Milford had an overpowering advantage at 24-12. But Milford holds on, so they win the first 2 sets in this meeting against Canton. So trying to do something that they have not been able to do in the better part of this last decade, that is to claim a match victory against their arch rivals Canton. They will have an opportunity to sweep this match as we start set number 3 right after this break here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. 2-0. That is the lead for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks as we begin the 3rd set of this Davenport Division showdown. Arch rivals on the floor here in Milford, the Lady Hawks and the Lady Bulldogs. Canton serving to open the set. From the left side, the return shot comes over by Kate Lobiser, and a couple of fortunate bounces for Canton allows them to return it to the Milford side of the floor, but Jill Valenzola puts a stop to it, getting the kill to open this 3rd set action. Tim Coed here on the call as we continue our fall sports coverage here on Milford TV. The 3-10 Lady Scarlet Hawks facing the 5-7 Canton Lady Bulldogs. Two teams that were by far and away the top two in the Davenport division a season ago, having a much different looking season this time around, as we see a terrific effort for Sabrina Harstick, keeping that one alive, and Milford gets the kill. As Harstick's strong game continues. She's looked very confident out there on the floor. And Harstick will serve. A couple of players going after that one, but Canton getting away with it. That return for Reichert may have gone long, but Canton opted to play it. As Milford could not quite figure out that hop as it came in close to the net. Milford thinking it was going to go over, it did not. Milford has used a couple of extended rallies in each of the first two sets to gain the separation that they ultimately needed to pull off victories. 25-19 in each of the first two sets. It was towards the middle of the first set that Milford was able to turn a 5-5 tie into a 13-5 lead before holding on for that 25-19 win in the last set. It was a dominating open to the match. To the set, I should say. Milford starting out on a 10-2 roll. Ultimately opened up leads of 20-9 and 24-12 before holding on for the 25-19 set victory. And so now here in the third set, much closer to start at 3-2. As Reichert's return shot is blocked. That ties things up early on at 3. Now here's Reichert again. This time she's able to get it past that front line, but they were able to take enough off of it for the Lady Bulldogs to return it over the net. Now Reichert again, and she can't keep it in on the near side. This Lady Bulldogs program has claimed a Davenport Division title in each of the last 10 seasons. 10 straight years they have owned the Davenport Division. That streak is in jeopardy this year, as right now they are in 4th place. This Canton program has won at least 15 games. Going all the way back to 2011, that is a streak that will come to an end this year. If Canton were to come back and win this match and win out in the remainder of their schedule, the maximum amount of victories they could end up with is 12. They have taken a 5-3 lead, and you can make it 6-3 as they were able to beat the double team of Lobiser and Tracy. Canton never led in the second set. They briefly led 5-4 in the first set, but this has been domination for Milford for the most part to this point in the match. They set it up again for Harris. And Harstick just able to sneak it over the net. Now again, Harris from the left side. And they will say that that went out on the far sideline. And into the game comes Brianna Maeda to take over the serve. Lobiser and Pierre Gustavo to the bench, so back to that front of Nocilia Reichert and Juliana Tracy. Far too much on that return serve, return shot, I should say, for the Lady Bulldogs. Milford back to within 1. Now Maeda absorbs that return shot. Nicely dug out by McDonough. Now the first to get to this one. Harris has seen a lot of work on her side of the floor so far in this third set, and it's paid dividends. She's been effective. And now mishandled by Sabrina Harstick. An 8-5 lead for Canton as Jerrier will serve. So the serve from Jerrier delivered along. Now Kelly Reichert will try to stabilize things for the home team. Erin Devine flipping that one over softly. Now Harris's shot off the net, and Harstick will return it to the back line. Now again Devine, and she is able to get the kill. Erin Devine along with Hannah Jerrier, two of the more seasoned players on this varsity roster. The serve now from Nicole Brown. Maeda for Tracy. And off the deflection, Tracy's able to get the kill. Cutting it back to a 2-point deficit for Milford. And now Kyra Alves. And tough luck for Canton as that ball was going to go long. But Canton tracking it back. It ended up making contact with Sophia Connor. And now the block attempt in front by Nocilia and Valenzola, but it ended up landing in between them. Milford once again fails to pull even in this third set. And now Harris, who has been a big part of the success early on in this third set for Canton, delivers her serve too long. And now that duo of Lobiser and Pierre Gustavo will come back out onto the floor. With Milford trailing by just a single point, Pierre Gustavo will take over on serve. We've seen a lot of progress for Emily Pierre Gustavo. Despite that mishit on the serve this time, she's had a good service game overall tonight. And again, for a player that has not played volleyball through her previous 3 years of her high school athletic career, taking on a third sport in her senior season to go along with her established success on both the basketball court and, of course, the softball field, where she was Hockomock League MVP this past spring. But her athletic ability has shown through in volleyball as well. She's become a valued addition to this team. And with the margin now 10-11 with Milford trailing, we'll see Harstick. And that one too hot to handle for Megan McDonough. And so Milford finally able to pull even after trailing through much of this third set, now 11-all. Do they have another lengthy run in them? Kate Lobiser timing that one well, placing it well, and gets the kill. And now deflected off and out of play by Canton. And timeout is taken. The first struggles of this third set for Canton after 3 quick points on the service game for Sabrina Harstick gives Milford a 13-11 lead in the third set. Milford up 2-0. We will have more action when we come back next on Milford TV. The service game continues for Sabrina Harstick out of the timeout. And so Canton giving Sabrina something to think about during that timeout, and when she comes back out, she delivers the serve long. So it breaks up the Milford momentum, at least temporarily. And a serve from Julia Minicello is delivered into the net. It was Minicello who took Canton back from the brink, making that second set competitive, taking it from 24-12 all the way to a 24-19 margin before Milford was finally able to eke out that second set victory. Hard to say eke out. They ultimately won it 24-19, but it started to feel like things were slipping away with the way Canton played late. At 14-13, the serve coming from Canton's Sophia Connor. And a hard return shot by Milford, apparently going just long off the back line. Scores table partially obscuring our view of that back line. And so Canton now pulling back on top on Connor's serve, now 15-14. There's Pierre Gustavo for Reichert. Soft shot. And a couple of dives for Canton. But ultimately Milford will get the point. Too many hits on the Canton side. Brianna Maeda. High serve met by Minicello and stuffed in front by Tracy Ednosilia. And so this has been a much more evenly paced third set. A lot of lead changes here as we get through these middle stages of the set. Now it's 16-15 Milford. As Tracy's shot is blocked in front by Jerrier. But the kill ultimately goes to the Lady Scarlet Hawks. Now up 17-15. And now one-handed. Canton able to get it back over. That was Nicole Brown with the kill. Erin Devine steps back out onto the floor, providing quality height in that front line for the Lady Bulldogs. Nicely played by Sophia Connor to get that ball over. Now it's Harris. Now the setup for Kelly Reichert with two hands. She gets it over. Now to the back for Valenzola. Tracy takes control. One shot to get it back to the Milford side for Canton. Now right to the middle of the floor. And one of the more lengthy volleys of the night sees Milford take an 18-6 lead. 18-16 lead, excuse me. As the serve will go to Reichert. All four of Milford's senior captains playing very well tonight. Now Harstick just tucks it inside the far sideline. And timeout taken by Coach Cawley. Milford up 19-6. They are 6 points away from a stunning victory over their arch rivals, something they have not been able to do in the better part of this past decade. Still a ways to go, up 19-6, and more action right after this on Milford TV. Serve continues for Kelly Reichert out of the timeout. Milford up 19-16. And Maeda just barely able to get a piece of that one, but then a lack of communication between Maeda and Jill Valenzola ends that rally for Milford. Cuts it back down to a 2-point margin. Very little differential in this third set. It's been close all the way. Now the serve away for Nicole Brown. Harstick, Valenzola, and eventually it's Maeda who returns it. Now Harris on the left side for Canton. Valenzola able to track it down, makes it playable for Harstick, who two-hands it over. Now from the right side, the attack comes from Sam Keefe. Good timing for Tracy, able to get it over the front line, but Canton recovers. Now stuffed by Nocilia. Canton keeps it alive and returns it beyond the far sideline. And now at 20-17, Kyra Alves returns to the floor. Now Erin Devine able to get it with one hand back over the net. Now too strong for Sabrina Harstick. You think back to last year's playoffs, Milford sizzling their way through the opening rounds, sweeps over Tantascwa at home and on the road over a very tough Neshoba team before matching up with their arch rivals from Canton on the road in the Division II Central semifinals. A lot of confidence for Milford going into that match as Canton plays this one off the roof, but they could not return it. But despite that confidence going in, Canton once again doing what they've done so often in recent years against Milford, claiming a sweep victory, ending Milford's 2016 year. It's been a much different looking year for Milford so far with just the 3 victories, but you know this one would mean a tremendous amount to these seniors. Certainly to Coach Zakili, who is here in the building tonight. And for the program in general. Too many hits on the Milford side that time. So the score now 21-19, Milford in front, as Megan McDonough will serve for the visitors. Pierre Gustavo setting it up for Valenzola, played by the back line of Canton. And good positioning for Valenzola up front. Milford 3 points away. Harstick on serve. Now returning it over, Nicole Brown. Reichert from the left side. Punched over by Canton. Pierre Gustavo, a clean setup for Lobiser. 2 players diving on the Canton side. They're able to return it. Here's Reichert again. Very high set. Now, Kyra Alves playing that one right at the back line. Now the flip shot on the right side. Lobiser has it go in the wrong direction. Milford couldn't recover. Obiser doing everything she could up by the net for that one. 22-20. And Julia Minicello, who has been one of the more effective servers tonight for Canton, back behind the line. Now Valenzola, and sending it right off of the body of Megan McDonough. She ended up colliding with a player behind her as she tried to absorb that hard return shot by Jill Valenzola. It's now a 23-20 Milford lead. Valenzola taking over behind the service line as her serve is fired too long. There have not been many leads bigger than 2 points throughout this third set. It's at 23-21 right now. That serve is dug out by Reichert. She fires it back over, but Canton gets the kill. And 23-22, going right down to the wire, and Coach Tammy Weber wants to talk things over. Some quiet moments right now. Also see some Milford coaches in the stands watching this game. The girls basketball head coach TJ Dolliver watching a number of his players who will suit up for the girls basketball team in just a couple of months from now. Also assistant principal Rich Pierre Gustavo, who of course has a strong rooting interest in this game with his daughter out there on the floor. Nick Zakili also in the stands, so a lot of interested spectators watching a very good volleyball game unfold. Reichert calmly sends that one back over the net. Now a diving attempt by Harstick. She saves it, but Canton able to keep it just inside the back line, and they tie the set up at 23 all. Just about the entire Canton bench standing right now, hoping for a comeback. As Sophia Connor continues to serve, here is Reichert. And Reichert gets the kill, and so that pushes Milford on top 24-23, a match point coming up for the Lady Hawks. And they will send Brianna Maeda back out onto the floor, hoping for the serve to seal the victory for Milford. Here we go, 24-23, the serve away. And the hard return shot is sent long by Hannah Jerrier, and that is that, 25-23. Milford holds on to win this third set, and the losing streak to Canton comes to an end here in 2017. No victories for Milford against Canton since prior to the 2011 season, but they put a stop to that here tonight, and an emphatic three-set sweep, defeating their arch rivals. And the celebration about to begin, and you have to imagine this means a lot to Linda Zakili, who right now gets hugs from the entire varsity team. You can see the smile on Linda's face. A great victory for Milford here tonight over Canton. They will celebrate this one for quite some time as Milford improves to 4-10 overall on the season, and the loss sends Canton to 5-8 overall on the year. A great match here tonight, and a big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand, our director Mike Sperling, and our camera operator Malcolm Zale. And I am Tim Coette. That final score, one final time, a three-set sweep. Milford defeats the Canton Lady Bulldogs. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.